the first and the biggest benefit, I guess, was just
Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode here at Sobriety University. On this channel, we talk about addiction and recovery-related topics, and we're back here with Anze. We have decided to meet again and do a part two of the last video, which will be linked down below, where we talked about some of the difficulties that Anze went through to quit marijuana. And now we get to talk about some of the more positive things, which is like, yeah, what great things happen when quitting, because that first video was a little heavy. So, Anze, welcome back. Thanks
hey
for coming
man,
back.
thanks for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, so we're just gonna start going here with I think the last thing we talked about was how Anze quit and had to go through some triggering experiences and to finally realize he was done. So what was the first benefit you received after you went through some of that inner work and you were free of marijuana?
Oh, okay. I mean, to be honest, that kind of came later on. So I quit in August 2020, and then first few months were kind of I had few cravings, I had lots of triggers, but then this inner work kind of came in 2021, where I realized I still have triggers and still have triggers, and I wasn't sure how to get rid of them. So then I went into the books, and I figured out that you've got to really look at why you're still smoking rather than why you want to quit. And yeah, so for the first and the biggest benefit, I guess, was just marijuana not hijacking my brain. And I know this sounds like so, I guess, insidious or whatever you want to call it, but the amount of times I would come home or I would go to work, worry about how or when I'm gonna get high. It's stupid, man. Like I had days where I would be on the lunch break and I would worry if my dealer would pick up later in the day because I didn't have weed at home, or like, mm, I don't know, I would go to a party and I would be like, is anyone gonna have weed there? Do I need to bring weed? Like, what's happening? Like, I don't want to go there and then not have weed. Like, let's figure this out before. So it was like, yeah, that was the first and the biggest benefit, I guess, was just, and that was kind of the reason why I did want to do this, like kind of work, because I still had triggers and cravings. But then once that was gone, I was like, dude, like I can finally have my own thoughts and I can finally be free of like this, like, oh, I'm going home now. I've got to stop at my dealers. Like I don't know, like anyone that smokes for years will acknowledge that when it's like marijuana just hijacks your brains, and it's just like I guess that was the first and the biggest benefit that came, like no more worrying about how or where to get high.
Oh man, I felt relief hearing you talk about that because I
Hmm.
remember that too. It's a real obsession, and it's crazy how you won't really realize how much time you're thinking about weed until you're
Yeah,
not thinking about it anymore. And it's just like,
yeah.
wait, oh my God, like I have all this mental bandwidth to like do stuff,
Hmm.
to like
Hmm.
go out, have
Yeah,
relationships, start
yeah.
a career. Even simple stuff like go to the grocery store. It's like
Hmm.
it's just a huge relief. And comment down below if you've experienced that relief from quitting weed because it's
Hmm.
definitely one of the greatest benefits. I totally agree. And a lot of
Hmm.
times in those addiction groups, they talk about how it really is an obsession of the mind. And I think Andre, what you just talked about sums it up exactly. It's just you can't stop thinking about it until you stop thinking about it. So
Yeah.
what were some of like the first few months like for you once you were free of this like obsession?
I mean, I don't know, man. It was weird because like I had this phase where I wasn't smoking for 6 months, right? And then obviously I broke that up and I relapsed, and it took me a while until I like said, okay, now this is done. Like, you know. Um and before that I had one or two breaks where I wasn't smoking for a few weeks. So this wasn't like my first big like, oh hurrah, like now it's. But I guess like when I really quit, I guess I realized like how much damage weed actually did, because like at that point I was staying at home, right? So I was kind of working from home, and I wouldn't be able to hold my attention for longer than 15, 20 minutes. And, I don't know necessarily. I mean, I think weed caused a lot of it. I wouldn't say that the weed caused everything, but, it just, yeah, just this spontaneous, like, thoughts that would come into my mind trying to change whatever I'm doing. Um, yeah, it was just weird. I realized that it's like, how much weed actually has taken over my life. And then I guess the biggest kind of thing is when I realized like I just don't do much fun stuff. Like, I would talk to
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
friends, especially when the pandemic stopped. I would talk to my friends. I mean, friend, I guess, because at that point I just didn't have many people that I would be like good friends with. And there's like, yeah, let's go there. I've been there, like I did that, and I'm like, okay, well, I just quit weed, so I don't know. I'm just kind of, like not, like, not doing much, and I don't know. I just realized like that pretty much every night I've been smoking weed, and that's about it. Like I didn't have hobbies. I didn't have anything else than work and smoking weed and sleep. Like that was pretty much my activities. Like going to work, smoking weed, and then going to sleep. In between, there was eating and shopping and taking a shower. So yeah, that was the huge thing when I realized that. Yeah, when I just realized that, a lot of the stuff that I thought I'm being productive, a lot of the activities that I thought I'm doing, I just wasn't like, I just wasn't doing much.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. So guys, if you want to check out Anje's channel, it's My Last Joint. And we
hmm
had a interview vice versa where I went on his channel
hmm
and we had a good laugh about that, how like we both thought we were like just slaying it and doing like all these really cool things,
yeah,
being so productive. And then of course like you get sober or you the high wears off and you look
yeah,
back and you're like, oh, this is pretty terrible. And
yeah,
I experienced that firsthand. And
yeah.
so it's great you talk about hobbies because that's one of the I found the most exciting parts of getting sober is like all these things I used to do as a kid start to
hmm
like come back into my memory and I'm like, oh yeah, I used to
hmm
love doing this. What were some of those things that really like
hmm
got your juices going?
I mean, the first one and the biggest one I remember was just biking. Like I remember because the place where I used to live, Bournemouth in England, like they had this rental scheme, so you could just go and rent a bike with your phone. And I was just like, dude, I'm enjoying biking so much. Like, I used to go on the bike before, but I was always like, I mean, majority of the time I was going high anyways, but I was always like kind of like, all right, we have to do some sort of exercise. Let's go and bike a little bit. It was also always this sort of mentality. But then I had so much time because, I just kind of stopped smoking. I had all my evenings, sometimes even all my mornings. Um, and I was like, dude, like going out with the bike, just, watching and just being around like, places and seeing places like with a sober mind is so much like, I don't know, it just felt completely surreal. Um, I think the biggest thing, I mean, the biggest thing I'm saying, the biggest thing a few times, like the big thing for me was as well like being present, like realizing like realizing like this, there is some stuff around me that it's actually nice and that there's some history there and that there's some value, just like kind of a, I don't know, before, like when I was high, I would almost just like be in my own thoughts, like just have this tunnel vision, just like go from A to B, and that's it. Like forget about that there is this beautiful pier, forget about that there is the like sunset and stuff like that. So
Are you
yeah,
a big
just
nature guy?
pardon?
Are you a big nature guy?
Yeah, I love nature. Like being outdoors for me, it's very important. So yeah.
Nice. Do you is there like a do you prefer being like in the forest or more like by water? What's like
I
your
mean,
element?
yeah, I guess water is my thing. Like if I can be
Yes,
next to the sea, I'm like that's me done. Like I'm settled, you know. So
that's so
yeah,
sick.
just I love the sea and the beaches, and I mean I love forest as well. Don't get me wrong, but if I
Yeah,
could pick, it would be always the beach and the sea. Yeah.
I'm the sea as well, and I live in
Mm-hmm.
Wisconsin in the U.S., so it's farmland everywhere. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, I do settle with the forest. I'm definitely looking forward to doing some travel and getting out by the water. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's just like a beautiful. It's the perfect balance of beauty and just like aggression. It's like
Mm-hmm.
can kill you and like make love to you at the same time.
Yeah. That's a good analogy. Hey.
So biking, that's really cool. Do you bike very often now or?
Um, Not at this moment. I used to this summer. I mean, I love biking in general, but um, I don't know. Like, I kind of started doing too many things now. So I go swimming and then I run as well. I
Oh,
do gym
nice.
very often now. So it's almost like, I gotta pick my hobbies now because I try to do too many things, and it's just like and then you end up with the shed full of stuff that you maybe use once or twice a year. So I've
Mm.
got to kind of niche it down or narrow it down now what I want to do.
Guys,
So
word to the wise, don't get addicted to hobbies. It will consume you. I
yeah,
started playing
yeah,
basketball like about a year ago.
uh-huh,
I got way too into it. Like it's like I'm not going to the league. Like, come on. I
yeah,
it was like
yeah.
it's crazy how yeah, hobbies can be just so intense and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
guys, if you got anything from this last couple of minutes here, we didn't talk anything about weed, which may be just like a little signal here. Like that's the beauty of hobbies is you just lose yourself in whatever
Mm-hmm.
the thing is. Like you just it,
Mm-hmm.
it just weed starts to slowly and slowly become less of an importance and it fades into a memory. And having hobbies is a really great way to get to that state. What were some of the other things you did to help you through those maybe first year or so of the withdrawal and stuff?
I mean, I always say the biggest thing is the exercise. Like, and that doesn't necessarily needs to be like gym or running. Like, it can be just walking. Like the first thing that I did, and that's how I kind of like got myself to really put down the foot and really do this was I just took a walk in the morning. Like every morning, I said, listen, no matter what happens, and that was actually before as well. I started doing this. No matter what happens, even if I smoke in the evening or in the night, I'm gonna have my morning walk every day, and that's what I did. Like that was my thing. Um, so I think you have to have some of one or two consistent thing you do every day. But yeah, exercise is huge, man. Like that, and then um, opening to people. Like I feel as stoners, we're just so kind of a secretive in a way. So when I kind of started like having more difficult conversation with certain people, that's when a lot of things kind of changed and shifted for me. Um, you know,
What kind of conversations do you mean by difficult?
just kind of like answering question like if I'm fine, like how I'm doing, like what's happening in my life because before it was always, yeah, I'm good, you good, okay, see you later. Like, it was the most um platonic relationship or like conversations you could have, like no emotions whatsoever, no concerns, nothing. It was just like, yeah, you're there, you're here, okay, I'll see you later. Like it was just, I don't know, it's hard to describe it. Perhaps it was
Oh,
just me, but yeah.
no, not at all. I hear you 100%. I'll notice that like I'll go play hoops at the gym and there's a lot of smokers that go there.
Mm.
Like you can smell it sometimes.
Yeah.
And just yeah, there's just no ability to converse. Like
Hmm.
uh, it's very just like that. Like, hey, how's it going? Um, and it's like good. It's just like the basketball is the only focus, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
use it
yeah.
to have that conversation.
And it's like it's just I don't know. It just I mean when you're smoking a lot, you kind of don't see it, but then when you stop smoking, it's almost like, dude, should we just have like a normal conversation, like how like we did now, like before we started recording this, we were talking for like 25 minutes. Yeah, some of it was bollocks, but we still talked. Like you know what I mean? It's just different. Mm.
Was there like a certain group that you of people in your life that really helped you kind of get back into the swing of like relationships and stuff, like family members, friends?
To be honest, not really. Like I am this stubborn guy that likes to figure out things on our own. And I kind of now opening and I try to get help as much as I can. I'm still struggling with this concept of getting help. And that's a bit ironic because I do help people quitting marijuana. But I am opening up and I try to acknowledge that I don't know everything and I'll never know everything, and that's fine. Um, in that regard, I guess I started to involve my family a little bit more. So they kind of sense that now I'm in a little bit better place. So they, I guess, started calling me more. Um, my friends, yes and no in a way. Like I still kind of kept distance, but I engaged a little bit more in the conversations. Um, and yeah, I guess I mean in the career level, where I was working and stuff like that, I kind of kept a little bit more in touch, and I kind of was giving feedback as well, and like I just was more, the conversation was just more natural and spontaneous rather than just on a work level, on the it wasn't just the minimum necessary, it was actually the some extra stuff as well and things like that. So yeah, I did involve some people. As for the relationship, I actually have a partner since this year, so this was kind of a like I quit before, like I kind of went into the relationship, if that makes sense. But I don't think I would have a relationship if I wouldn't quit, because I was just at the bottom of the bottom. Like I wasn't happy with where I am. I was thinking of myself like a complete failure, and I just wasn't accepting people in my life because of that.